Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, collectors of all ages, it is AussieVerse, and we are back live and in living color with this time. It is all about those vicious vixens. Who are they? What are they? We're about to find out all about it. You may remember Ben Lacy coming on the show last time for his Shark of War. And if you missed it, go check it out after this video. This is his other Kickstarter, The Vicious Vixens, set in the same world as the Shark of War. Very, very different. What is it? Let's find out. Oh, yeah! He's back, baby. He is back into the AussieVerse. How are you, brother?
I'm doing well. It's Friday night here in the U.S., and so it's nice to be here.
Does that mean you're drinking some sort of whiskey or scotch?
Hard cider, actually.
Hard cider. Fair enough.
The whiskey was earlier. I want to stay somewhat sober for this, so switch to hard cider.
Might have been funnier if you were drunk. Who knows? We do have some comments here. Christina, thank you so much for joining us. It is always a pleasure to see your beautiful face. Well, you know what I mean. Your beautiful words, anyway. James Abel, thank you very much for joining us. Yes, he's got the shark emoji there. Awesome. OG Shaggy Mac, morning peeps, morning brother. Claudia, yo. And Sigmate Studio, hello again, Bo. Thank you so much for joining us again from last night. And yo, hello. Ben. So, we're here for Vicious Vixens, mate. We have both read the two issues that you showed us. I remember I actually backed the first issue once upon a time, and I really, really enjoyed it. It is quite different to the Shark of War, but it's really, really cool, man. Before we show it off, why don't you tell people about it? Why should they buy the book?
Well, Vicious Vixens is a spinoff of Shark of War #1, but you don't have to have read Shark of War #1. But if you want to, I'm giving you the digital edition free, so everybody gets the digital edition of Shark of War. In Shark of War #1, there's a montage where basically he's busting criminals, and one of the criminals he busts are human traffickers, and they're trafficking this group of women at sea. And he basically kills the traffickers and then flies off, leaving them adrift at sea. After the book was over, I started thinking, I wonder what happened to those women. And then the whole idea of Vicious Vixens kind of grew out of that. 8 women, each with a unique skill set. The mob brought them together for a specific reason. And when they go free, the mob is desperate to hunt them down. In the first 2 issues, they get free and they escape. And now the mob, though, has recaptured them, and they're going to force them to go on the mission they want them to do. And there's going to be hard consequences if they refuse. So that's what we finally get in issue 3. We find out why the mob brought them together, and they start on their mission. And that leads to the death race, where they are being chased through the jungle by a maniacal gang of people who want them dead.
Yeah, awesome. That is awesome. KJB, thank you for joining us, brother. So how many issues is this going to be, or is this just going to be an ongoing?
It could be an ongoing, but I envision at least 6 issues for this, possibly more. Depending on how it goes. I have plans for the team going for as long as there's interest. The current arc is probably 6 issues or so, because that's just how long it'll take to do the current arc. But if people want more, there's plenty of stories to tell with this group. I view it like Charlie's Angels meets the A-Team, and obviously the A-Team and Charlie's Angels ran for multiple seasons, and so many episodes. So this certainly can too.
That's a good description, actually. I like that. Thank you, Christina. Okay. So let's take a look at the Kickstarter, because that's what we're here for. One sec. I didn't prepare this. Here we go. Now, there is a couple of pictures here that aren't for the faint of heart.
Yeah, I want to point out that this is a come for the sizzle, stay for the steak book. There's nothing that's not PG-13. That's more than PG-13 here. There's nothing that would rate an R in this book.
Yeah.
Well, maybe actually, I take that back. Some of the violence might rate an R, but the nudity will not rate an R.
Yeah, and I can attest to that. It's definitely covered up. It's not like the NSFW comics that you do see.
Yep. Funny you should say that, because when I was going through issue 1 and 2, we see a lot of reds splatters, and I was thinking, oh, red band.
Yeah. If you're more concerned about violence, there's certainly some of that, though it's not not really gory. There are some scenes where people are getting it with a knife. There's one character who has a thing with knives and uses them, and then but there's not it's not a ton of guts hanging out or anything like that.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I really did like about this is, and I've said this before many times with other comics, for myself in particular, sometimes it can be really hard to get into new characters. And sometimes it's a little bit of a chore, I feel. But with Vicious Vixens, you've got, 8 women plus the rest of the cast. And I actually found it really easy to get into these characters. And you end up starting, I'm sure everybody has their own favorite female. But yeah, it was really easy. And I really, really enjoyed it. How did you come up with the different personalities?
Well, I at first thought, I really wanted them to each have a unique ability. So, we've got we got the muscle woman. We've got the woman who's the handy woman. We have the medical doctor. So some of their personalities reflect, those abilities. People who work out, or a doctor is very brainy. The person who's very handy, she has a lot of common sense, and so on. So that really helped, I think, give some definitions to their personality. Now, some of them, like Knives, for example, who's the most vicious of them, had a very hard upbringing. And one of the things we'll see in Vicious Vixens #3 is her backstory and why she's had the hardest, life of all of them. And she that's made her especially vicious. And we also learned the backstory of Fiji, who's also the possibly the best fighter of the group, but she's much more of a Zen-like personality. We see her backstory as well, and where she's coming from. So each issue I try to give kind of the backstory of a couple of the women. In issue 1, we got Doc. In issue 2, and we got Fishhook, who's the handy woman, and we got Big Sis, who's kind of the de facto leader of the team. Their backstories. So how Big Sis wound up being, why she's got leadership ability, and also how she's the most knowledgeable about the workings of the mob.
Yeah. And you've also gotten models to do some covers here as well.
I started, in issue 2, I started with I thought it might be cool to do, cosplay covers. So I found a couple of women to model Big Sis and Blondie. And in this issue, we have Knives and Fiji. And in this issue also, they not intentionally. I've seen Porky's, and I'm a big fan of it because that was my teenage years. Let you know how old I am. But that was not intentional. The art. I told the artist to draw a shower scene, with everybody covered conveniently covered, and this is what he came up with. I think he's younger than that era of movie as well. It's possible he's seen it, but he's definitely younger than I am.
Before we do go further into the Kickstarter, we do want to give a massive shout out to our members. That's our paid members. We call them 4 lifers. And without them, we wouldn't be having as much support as we do get now. We want to say thank you to each and every one of these names that are on the screen. Still only 35 cents. Rob's Fat Stacks of Comics and Simple Simon have their own YouTube channel. Go check them out. They are individually very different to what each other produces, and they are very good content. If you want to be a supporter of AussieVerse, remember that being a paid member is not required. The best way to support AussieVerse is by subscribing to the channel, liking the videos, sharing, commenting, and giving us your firstborn. Now, let's go through the book here. I'm going to mute this video just because we have issues with that all the time. I'm sorry, Ben.
Don't worry about it. It's all the one thing about this movie, this video is it did something a little different. There's no talking, and you never hear from me. And that was intentional. Well, I'll take it back. The audio there will be audio when the cosplayers talk, because each of the cosplayers in this one made a short video for me. If you want to try and play it, that's fine. I mean, they do talk in that video, and it is kind of it's kind of funny and kind of interesting. But if you can't play it, don't bother.
No. Our only concern is the music. YouTube seems to the problem with the music unless it's original and not owned by somebody else.
I actually use I use the music I use is from YouTube. It's from their copyright free library. So it's supposed to be
well then that should be cool.
It's supposed to be all, and it's their stuff that they say they put on their own library as being copyright free for people to use. So that's where I always get my music.
All right, well then let's do it. Before we do that, I'm just going to give the screen a bit more room. Sharif, can you just throw us up there, please? Thank you.
Hello. They call me nice because I like to use it on anyone who gets in my way. If you mess with me, I'll kill you. If you mess with my friends, I'll kill you. I don't take prisoners. I have no mercy. I'm the most vicious of the vicious vixens. Pray you never meet me.
Hello, my name is Fiji. I have been told that I am the sweetest and kindest of the vixens. That is unless that you try to hurt me or my friends. Then you will see how vicious I can be. Thank you for your time.
All right. Now, as you said, it's Charlie's Angels meets the A-Team, but with more vicious action and more viciously beautiful women. This has 11 days to go, 142 backers, and it has passed its goal. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, and I'd like to point out that first line there. If you go back up just a tad. Yeah, if anybody goes there, they can click on here and they can read all of issue 1 for free. I have faith in my product, and my story, and that so I'm giving it to you for free for the first issue. If you want to see what it is, it's basically you can try it out for free. And my hope is that you'll like it and want to get more. You don't have to sign up for anything. You just click on that link and it takes you, the issue should pop open in digital with, the full first issue plus some bonus features as well.
Yeah, that's what you've always done, Ben, which is really generous. I've noticed even with your emails, you do give a lot away for free, which is really good.
Yeah, my whole thing, as an indie creator is, the only way you're going to get people to want your stuff is, they have to think you're going to be delivering something good, and so therefore you just have to give it away free. So, anybody who everybody gets Shark of War 1 and 2 for free. They get Vicious Vixens 1 for free. They get my Shark of War guide to how to avoid a shark attack, very handy in the summer, for free as well.
The stretch goal 1 at 4,000 is the Full Knives cosplay will be added to the digital edition. Did that make it? Yeah, it has.
Not quite. At 4,000 American, I think we still got a little ways to go.
Okay.
But I'm hopeful, and then I'll start doing physical prints. And everybody, I list it as a week one backers, but in reality, I give it to everybody. Don't tell everybody, but I give the bonus print that's shown there. There will be in every physical backers rewards, and there'll be a digital copy as well for digital only backers. I know a lot of your listeners are probably down foreign to the U.S., so down under. So I have a lot of digital things here as well. I have a very I think a very reasonably priced all my digital tier. I've done, this will be my 13th comic book, and I have it all 13 for $24 American, which is less than $2 a comic book, which I think beats even Marvel or DC. Obviously. For a physical copy, I can't compete with them because I can't print something for 50 cents a book and have it sent to a comic shop. I gotta mail it and pack it and everything else, and paying a lot more for a hard copy. But for the digital copy, I'm willing to go as cheap as I can go just to get people to read my stuff, and I give a very good deal on all the digital.
And I will attest to that because, as you can see, I'm moving house, which is why the background is so naked. Otherwise, I'd show the previous purchases that I've gotten off you, Ben. But Ben has sent me the hardcover of Shark of War, and I've bought a single issue off him before with his previous Kickstarter, which was called Samson, and both were packed very, very well. So if you are going to be buying physical stuff from Ben, don't worry about how it gets delivered. It'll be 100% fine.
Yeah, I try to make sure everything's good, and every time there's an issue, which has been rare, I just send it out a new copy, so you're going to be covered. And
so you're going to be getting issue 3 with issue 1 and 2 also available in hard copy and digital. 24 interior page story with heroines you'll love and villains you'll hate. All tiers include the digital copies of Shark of War 1, which is the first Vixen appearance, which is, as Ben said, not required to follow the series. It's more like how Marvel do their events, where you can read the main event, but you don't need the one-shots and the other ones. But if you want a more rounded story, then go get the others as well.
The thing how Vicious Vixens and Shark of War is part of the same universe, so added reading would definitely I feel benefit.
Yeah, I think that there is a cameo of Shark of War in this issue that references another a Shark of War comic. So if you're into the whole thing and you like a shared universe, you get some of that here. But I don't want people that feel they have to read Shark of War to read this comic book. But you certainly can, and like I said, a lot of the tiers provide you at least some of the digital aspects of Shark of War. The higher price tiers give you all my digital comics as a bonus. Plus, like I said, I have a digital tier for less than $2 an issue for all my books. I have trading cards. If you're into collecting trading cards, I have for this comic. This gives you a view of how they are. There's 8 cards, basically one for each Vixen. Gives you her a little background on her and her kind of her height and her age.
Sledge is asking I drive up there and get all the physical copies. We'll talk after the show, Sledge. So who doesn't like cards? I love them. And you've also got this is cool, yeah.
Yeah, now here's another bonus for digital for all backers. After when I showed this, one of the backers emailed me and said, "Hey, can I get a digital version of this? This print, a digital version of this image, basically as wallpaper." So I recreated it as the digital image. So everybody will be getting a copy of this digital image, but there's more. After I showed my artist this, he looked at it, what I did, because I kind of moved everybody closer together so they'd fit on a better aspect ratio than they do on the top image. And my artist looked at it, who drew this in the first place, and he's like, I'm going to redraw it from scratch because I think I can do better. so you're basically getting a second digital image of this that's been remastered basically by the artist. Slightly more realistic versions of the women, because he, some of them are very well. All of them are a little bit over the top, but he wanted to make them a little more realistic while still keeping the same appeal, and also it fits much better into a picture at an 8:11 print aspect ratio. And because that was so popular, I'm also offering it as an 11:17 hard copy print for anybody who wants a hard copy version as well. So that's going to be that's an add-on to the book.
That's pretty cool. Do you have a favorite character?
I go back and forth between, probably Blondie, Knives, and, those two. Knives has a lot of the most dramatic scenes, as someone who's, the most violent and, has reasons for it. And obviously Blondie, is the muscle girl of the group. So, that's kind of, interesting in itself. And then there, Big Sis is kind of the leader, and she's also our narrator a lot of the time. So she's kind of narrating a lot of the action for people. So, I try to, make sure all the women have, moments in each book. Little Sis winds up in a lot of trouble in this issue. So I want to make sure everybody gets covered. And, I think there's a character for everybody in this book, either, a character, women can identify with, or, men will like, more than others.
So we have some quotes here. This is an exciting debut comic starring a large all-women cast with a story that you'll have on your toes and anticipating the next issue. You may have felt sorry for these women at the start, but as you see them in action, they can handle anything. The ending here lets you know the most dangerous and exciting is yet to come. Now, with your Shark of War, that was you doing digital art yourself, I believe.
For the first 5 issues. First 5 issues. Issues 6, 7, and 8. The 8th issue is just being finished up drawing. I switched over to having traditional artists do it. I never wanted to be an artist. I always wanted to write, but for Shark of War 1, I basically kind of taught myself how to do a digital art so I could make the book. And as I got more into the community and was doing the Kickstarters, I found people who, I could work with as artists, and I decided I could, start turning that over to them, because I could focus more on, what I want to do, which is tell the story.
Yeah. Okay. So let's look at the different tiers that you've got here.
But was there much difference between having art done yourself and getting another artist to do the art?
There's a lot of iterating, on the art. First they give me kind of a thumbnails, and then I comment on the thumbnails, and then they'll come back with pencils, and I'll comment on the pencils. So there's a lot of back and forth, obviously, than when I'm just doing it myself. Because I kind of have a vision in my head as I see it, and I kind of lay it out myself when I'm doing it all myself. But when they when they're doing it, we have to go back and forth a few times. there's a learning curve for the artists, obviously, in understanding what I want, and there's a learning curve for me and understanding, their style and and what they can and can't do to make it all work. Now, the one thing on the art I'm still doing on Shark of War is I still do the Jaws tribute covers, kind of a tradition where I always do a cover that's kind of either a spoof or of the one of the Jaws movie posters or something from the Jaws movies. So I always like
those.
Still,
I do like those. The Jaws one in particular, I really, really love. It's really cool.
Yeah, I always try. I did the Jaws a version of Jaws, and then I started moving on to Jaws 2 and Jaws 3D and things like that as well. And
so for Australians anyway, it's $8 for the digital Vixen, which is the issue number 3, Shark of War issue 1, and your name on the inside of the back cover. You can't really get cheaper than that. But just remember, you can go and read the first issue for free. So you don't need to pay anything. You just need to go to Kickstarter and either type in Ben Lacy's name or type in Vicious Vixens, and both will show this Kickstarter. The next one is $16 Australian, $10 American for all the Vixen digital. That is issue 3, 1, and 2, as well as Shark of War issue 1 with your name on the inside of the back cover. Next up, we have $15 American, about $24 Australian. This is the base cover of the Vicious Vixens, issue number 3, with free shipping in the US. This is all three. This is the Vicious Vixens number 3 base cover, the digital number 3, Shark of War number 1, and your name on the inside of the back cover. Then there is also the trading cards, $20 American, which is about $32 Australian. That is a set of 8 Vixen trading cards, double-sided with brief bios. Again, free shipping in the US, plus the digital edition of Vicious Vixens number 3, Shark of War number 1, and your name on the inside back cover.
This got added because somebody asked me for a tier with just a trading card. So I was like, yeah, sure. And then he went up and bought the base cover anyway. So it's an add-on. And I was like, I had it so it wound up being the same price either way. So I was like, okay, if that's the way he wants to do it, I'm fine with that, But
one of probably my favorite cover is this Shark of War cover. That is, I'm pretty sure I've got a picture of that right here. That's that one there. And this is 23 American dollars, rounding out to about 36 Australian. It's the Shark of War Vicious Vixens issue 3, free shipping in the US. That's the digital edition of number 3 as well, Shark of War number 1, and your name on the inside of the back cover. Then we have the cosplay variants. This is the Fiji cosplay cover variant for 23 American dollars, rounding out to about 36 Australian. You can see that has that cover, which is issue number 3, the digital number 3, Shark of War number 1, and again, your name on the inside of the back cover. Same again, but this time it's the Knives cosplay cover, same price as before with the same content as before. If you want digital because you're in Australia or somewhere else and you don't want to pay for physical stuff and you want to get the whole thing, then you need the digital tier. That is $24 American, about 38 Australian. It is the complete digital versions of issues 1 to 3 of the Vicious Vixens, Shark of War Volume 1, which collects 1 to 5 of Shark of War, issue 6 through 8 of Shark of War, issue 1 of the Cthulhu Man, and issue 1 of Samson. That's the one that I mentioned before. 13 digital comics with over 100 pages of bonus features. Again, this time it is the base cover plus all the digital, $29 American, $46 Australian, everything that I said before, but with this one you also get issue number 3 of the Vicious Vixens. If you are not that interested in Vicious Vixens, but you're really into the Shark of War, then this is the tier for you. This gets all the digital of the Shark of War, Vicious Vixens number 3, and your name on the inside of the back cover. And there is more tiers as you scroll on and plenty of other options. So there is something for everybody.
Yeah, there's also the Be Drawn in the Book tier. Those are the highest, obviously the highest priced ones. There's the You Killed by the Vixens in the Book tier, where you're part of the attacking gang, and you get, you saw the previous image with them blasting out of the truck. You get to be killed in that scene. There's the You in the 2-issue appearance, where you're part of the gang that you get to live in this issue and then die in the next.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So these ones are all gone. You as the Vixen's point person.
Yeah, that's the mob, basically the mob liaison who accompanies them on their mission. So.
That's really cool. That's really cool. So how many issues until we can get a hardcover? Because I'm all about that hardcover, Ben.
I don't know. It's probably 5 or 6. That kind of range. I don't want to print a hardcover. If it's not 150 pages or something like that. Because otherwise it doesn't feel like a real book. It should have some bulk to it. So I don't like to do it until I have enough issues to do a bulk. Which is what I tried to do with Shark of War. I waited till I had 5 issues, and I think it was 160 pages with the including all the cover images, art in the back, as a bonus feature. So I like to have it in that kind of size. And doing the hardcover was it was a bit of a pain. It seems like it'd be easy, but if you want to make it pay, you basically have to get your book from China, and that was not an easy easy thing to work through. But they were very cooperative. They seem like nice people, but they're not speaking English. I'm not speaking Chinese, and so there was like a number of iterations before they got it the way right, and that was a lot of difficulty. So I really want to make sure I've got enough books. I've got enough people wanting the books to make it worthwhile before I do that.
So are you publishing these yourself?
Well, I basically arrange for the printer. So I find a printer. I once I have all the images, I find the printer. I send it to the printer. They print the books. They ship them to me, and then I ship them to you. At this point, I'm not so big that I have a third. Some people use third parties. If they have hundreds and hundreds of backers, they'll hire somebody to do their shipping for them. Yeah, but I'm still at the point where I can manage it myself. I'd love to be at the point where I have to hire a third party and have them do all my my fulfillment, because one of the least fun things about this is packing books and and printing address labels and packing everything up, making sure it's all secure, and then hauling it off to the post office. But that's kind of just part of it right now.
I hate doing that. When it comes to, it's funny, when it comes to collected editions, I don't mind doing it because it's so easy. But when it comes to single issues, I hate doing that because people, it's like selling pops. They need to arrive 100% pristine, and if they're not, you will certainly hear about them. And it's nerve-wracking.
The floppies people expect to to go to be able to take it to the CGC rating agency and get a 9.8 on it or something like that. So it is a lot harder in that regard. But we have U.S. printers that are for that. But if you want a hardcover book, and you don't want to spend a fortune, you really do have to go overseas for it. And there's a lot of it's a little bit of an effort to do that.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking. Maybe after the show, I can introduce you to Philbo Publishing. I don't know what the deal is behind that, but we've had them on the show a couple of times, and he's a really, really, really great guy. and we just backed his latest Kickstarter, which is an omnibus, and it's
Wow.
all of his work in a big book.
Yeah.
And he must have found a way to do it, obviously financially fine, you know.
Yeah.
So we'll see about that. Have you looked into doing a print on demand? There are some websites like Lulu and Blurb that only print the books you order.
A little bit. You know, most of the time I print extra copies to take to Comic-Cons with me and stuff like that. So I don't just do a print on demand. That is usually going to be your more expensive option. You know, you can do it, but you know, it's for a floppy book, it's going to cost more, and for a hardcover, it's definitely going to cost more.
Yeah.
You're probably looking, you know, double what you would pay, you know, at least from getting it from China or something like that.
Mm.
They just do it so cheaply. But
we'll have a look at some more art then here on your Instagram. Anybody that wants to look him up, Ben Lacy 1, and it'll have not just his Vicious Vixens, but obviously also his Shark of War and Samson. That's the cover that I bought. I just loved that Superman homage.
yeah, I really like that cover too. That's one of my favorites.
Plus his Shark of War plushie. These other homages, the Twisted.
Yeah, I saw that come out and I was like, okay, I have an idea.
That is so good. Are you doing any more Samson?
Oh yeah, I pretty much finished the script for issue 2. So I'm trying to decide who I want to use for an artist for it and start maybe. I'm hoping for like late spring maybe for the Kickstarter for that. And that was definitely a tough book. So, you know, partly because of the, you know, reasons related to the character. But, you know, that was a tough book. So I'm hoping to start strong on that. And I'm, you know, getting a broad audience for this book will help with that book. So, you know, hopefully some of those people will want to also back it.
Funny how you use the word tough. I was just about to ask, Ben, with so much work under your belt already, does it get easier as it goes on?
I'd like to say it does, but you know, each one is a bit of a challenge. You know that to do it. The Kickstarter is always kind of like nerve-wracking and trying to get people to back. This one has been one of the easier ones because it funded quickly. You know, I regularly have Kickstarters that fund, you know, on the last day. Samson actually failed the first time, and then it funded on the last day the second time I tried it. So there's a nerve-wracking, you know, issue to it. You know, as an indie creator, you know, you have to rebuild your audience to some degree each time. It's not like you have a character who's in a movie or something like that who automatically is going to bring out a whole bunch of people for you. So you're kind of doing it yourself.
I love all
this. There's some of the Jaws homage covers, like that's actually you know. Oh, that was for Shark of War 5. Oh yeah, I did a Christmas card with the Rudolph with replacing the lyrics to Rudolph. Yeah, that's from a Jaws 2 image, where the woman is water skiing, and replacing her with the villain of the series.
I like that black and white one.
I love just the classic Jaws ones, you know, like that.
Yeah, I keep playing with spins on the Jaws movie poster. You know, that's the death of Quint up there. You know, the one above. This is for your hardcore Jaws fan, because as any Jaws fan will tell you, you don't get that view in the movie because the shark was only real on one side, so they couldn't film it directly from the front. They had to film it from one side.
It's so funny. I recently just watched Jaws 1 and 2 again, just a couple of weeks ago, because I hadn't seen it for many, many years.
Yeah.
I need to watch the third one again. You got so much shark-inspired stuff. It's so funny.
Yeah, I had a I found a guy on Fiverr who will design you a paper toy, and I had him design that shark toy up there. And that's also something you get if you're really into doing paperwork. You can print out your own little. If you sign up for my email, I'll send you a thing you can print out where you can print this page out and you cut it out and you can build your own paper toy. I never actually did that. When I got it, I handed it to my wife and I asked her to do it for me. And she was able to make the paper toy. I was like, can you do this? And she was like, okay, I'll give it a try. And she made the paper toy.
Oh man, that is awesome. Oh, wait a minute. Here we go. Is that a what?
I don't know what a measure me is.
Mr. Schmidt Mako?
A mako is a kind of shark, but or is that the measure
of
an airplane?
Yeah. So what's your end goal here with Vicious Vixens? Because I know you've said that Shark of War is going to be keeping on going. Vicious Vixens is going to be at least 6. Are you going to be doing something that's going to be joining it all together? Is it only going to be a little bit connected? What's the future plans?
There may be a connection later on. Once the Vixens current adventure goes free, there may wind up being some level of I don't know what call it, a crossover or team up, but there's a possibility of that. Obviously, I think both books have to continue to be doing well to get to that point. But that's kind of my vision.
Yeah, cool.
And the Cthulhu Man, we only mentioned it briefly, but that also takes place in the Shark of War universe. That's kind of a one-off comic book at this point. There could be a sequel, but that's also in the same universe because he was created by the Shark of War's main nemesis in the comic book.
Right. Okay. So Samson's the only one then that's not in that universe?
Yeah, Samson's kind of in its own universe. My son was telling me, no, you should have them all in the same universe, and I'm like, well, it's more of a traditional superhero universe where it's more populated, I guess you'd say, with some more superheroes than the Shark of War world is. So that kind of stands in its own lane, where he's that story starts in World War II and also goes back and forth between World War II and the end of the Cold War, when the reunification of Germany, you find out new information about Nazi war criminals who may have survived the war, and that kind of sets the story in motion.
Yeah, cool. Okay.
But in this case, there are super-powered Nazi war criminals, and there are some other super-powered people in that world.
Yeah, sweet. We are sponsored by Comic Bookaroo, Australia's #1 online comic book store. Here's a word from them. Comic Bookaroo, proud sponsors of AussieVerse for all your comic book needs. Graphic novels, hardcovers, omnibuses, single issues. Don't forget to pre-order every Sunday at Comic Bookaroo. So before we go, Ben, I mentioned your newsletter earlier. Huckleberry Fin Hunter versus the Jet Sharks of Time. And one thing, just so like if you go to the Kickstarter, you can get that Vicious Vixens issue #1 for free. The one thing I've always been impressed with yourself is how with the newsletter, you do give away a lot of your content for free as well. Where can people sign up for that newsletter?
bitingcomics.com. Just bitingcomics.com. It'll take you to a site. Enter your first name and your email, and you'll get links to several free comic books. And I'll be sending you my newsletter with the same links in them on a regular basis.
Yeah, beautiful. Let's take a look here. So here we go. This is how I must have found you as well originally. Get the Vicious Vixens and Shark of War free. Just put in your email address and first name. That way you can dip your toes in the water and hopefully gets you to back Vicious Vixens #3, and you can pick up #2 in the meantime and also get the Shark of War. let's take a look at some of your other stuff here, because the Cthulhu Man's the only one that I haven't read. So I'm going to have to get onto that, I think. But yeah, that's pretty cool, man. Bitingcomics.com.
Thank you.
Yo, Comic Cap Collectibles, how are ya? All right. What else do you want to talk about with the Kickstarter yourself? Any other sort of promotions? The floor is yours, Ben.
Like I said, I've added, you know, a number of digital bonuses to this. You're going to get, you know, the digital print that was shown, you know, whether you back hard copy or digital, you can get a digital or physical print, depending of the that one image of the women basically blasting away from the back of the truck. You're also going to get the digital prints of the women together as a group that formed that one cover image. Plus, you're going to get Shark of War 1. Did I die here? Self-frozen.
Yeah, no, we can hear you now.
Did I die?
No, you're all good. You're all good now.
Like I said, I seem to have a lot of trouble with StreamYard for some reason. I don't know why. My internet does not like it, I guess. I'm not sure. Yeah, you're gonna get, you know, you're gonna get 2 comics. You can get a bunch of digital bonuses. There's gonna be a bonus feature. Like I mentioned, the women in this issue, we learned their mission, and the mission was based on real world events that I'm gonna write a bonus feature on. So I'm gonna have a, you know, I don't know if when you saw Shark of War, you noticed there's like bonus features that I write up stuff in the back. There's gonna be one of those for this as well. Plus, there's, like I said, there's four covers: the base cover, the variant cover with the women with the Shark of War, the Fiji cover, and the knives cover. And you can also get, if you're interested in the back issues of collecting those cosplay covers, there's the Blondie cover and the Big Sis cover for issue 2. I'm hoping to do at least one more, you know, cover for issue 3. Eventually, I'm hoping to get all the women. Little Sis is obviously going to be a more difficult one, because you know I'm going to be careful with that, obviously.
Yeah.
But I'm tending to get at least 7 of the women in cosplay.
Yeah, sweet. So, Vicious Vixens, for those that came late, is about 8 women that are kidnapped, chucked on a boat, gonna be sold to do God knows what, and they take their revenge, and each single one of them has a different set of unique skills. We learn about the girls throughout each issue. It is violent, it is great art, it is a really enjoyable read, and it's really easy to get into. On top of that, Shark of War is about a shark that's freaking like RoboCop versus Terminator kind of shark that just goes out there and, you know, does a lot more than Jaws does. Let me just tell you that. So go check them out. It has been an absolute pleasure, Ben. I thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me.
Anytime, my friend, anytime. And to those out there watching, thank you very much for joining us for nearly 50 minutes. We really appreciate all of your time. We know that you could be doing many, many other things with your time, but instead you've decided to sit here with AussieVerse, and that means the world to us. Christina, big shout out to you for always coming up with those links and just doing an unpaid job. So thank you very, very much. James, you usually do that as well, but I think you've been a bit slack today, mate. And everybody else that's been out there, thank you very much for joining and contributing to this chat. We really appreciate you. We will be seeing you, let's see, Monday, actually. We have a secret show being recorded tonight. If you have gone to our Instagram, you will see a little bit of the snippets and the hints that I've been laying out as to what we're recording tonight, but that video will be going up Monday. Sharif and I are also going to be doing the March Marvel Collected Editions previews. That's going to be coming. We have our weekly FOC show, and we've got more coming, as AussieVerse always does. Now, before we go, Ben, sir, let's see if you remember this from last time. It's been a while. Let's see how good your memory is. What's AussieVerse, mate?
For life.
Yes. Good work. We'll catch you next time, everybody. See you then.
Bye. Thank you.